Hi there folks, my name's NovaWrap and welcome to the NovaWrap, your one-stop location for your simulation release news and goings on from the week that was. So welcome to Sunday the 9th of September 2018 for another exciting episode, and yes, I am back. Thank you very much to all those who sent messages of support for my little sojourn into South Africa for the Ironman 7.3 World Championships. It was an event to remember, that is for sure, and I was very much humbled and privileged to be part of an absolutely spectacular event in an absolutely amazing part of the world. So I am very grateful there. In the words of the MC, we were blessed by Africa because it absolutely bucketed down rain for the duration of the event, but it would definitely pose some challenges for the participants. But it was definitely an event to remember, that is for sure, and some memories I will cherish forever. So thank you very much for your patience for me while I was away doing that. But of course we are back here with a new episode with new news and new releases for the week. So we can jump straight into it this week with some X-Plane news for the guys over at UK 2000, continuing to release their content, moving it over from the ESP platform over onto X-Plane. Their latest release in that is the Liverpool Extreme range, which is their rendition of John Lennon Airport in Liverpool. So this comes through with their usual high quality of their bringing it across with their custom lighting effects. Custom mapping for the X-Plane user interface, full support for all of the parking slots, full use of specular lighting, and of course the PBR texturing as well. High resolution ground imagery for the airport and surrounding area with highly detailed customized UK buildings for the airport and the corresponding UK ground markings. 3D approach lights, customized airport vehicles, grass signage and 3D elements throughout, of course, as come to expect. Unfortunately though, I was a little disappointed with this release though. Now the reason for that is that this is actually a fairly old release of theirs. In fact, I think it was one of their first one of the Extreme range, and as such it's about 7 years old. It depicts the airport as it appears in 2011. Now unfortunately, for me, this would have been a golden opportunity for them to actually sort of reboot the scenery, to actually sort of bring it up to date and how it appears now. Unfortunately, they've chosen not to do that. So they've chosen just to simply port it straight across and leave it as it appears in 2011. So it is significantly out of date, which is, as I said, a bit of a shame. I mean, the runway's still there, and but it's a bit of a shame that they didn't actually bring it across. And there are certain elements that, such as some of the static aircraft and the AI traffic aircraft, that are not included in the X-Plane version, which is pretty standard for those guys when they bring it across. So, yeah, a little disappointed that they didn't take the opportunity to actually sort of update it while they were there. But otherwise, still a very high quality release. It's been around for a while and looking pretty good for that one. So coming in at their usual price at $22 US, or the original equivalent, available now from UK 2000's website. In another X-Plane scenery release for this week, we saw the guys over at Nimbus Simulations release their reboot of their rendition of Chicago O'Hare International Airport. Seriously, this airport it always boggles my mind with how big this airport is. Like, it's in the middle of the US, sort of the northern border, but this is the middle of sort of the con US, and it's just so insanely busy. I mean, it's got 8 damn runways. This thing's huge. Anyway, so this is version 3 from Nimbus of Chicago O'Hare, and now brings it up with making it fully compatible with X-Plane 11. And as such, it's included now with full support for the PBR lighting and materials that we've come to expect in X-Plane 11 content. Full support for HDR lighting as well. They've also updated it with 4K quality ortho photo real scenery for the airport and the surrounding area. Updated with 4K textures for the buildings and the main terminal buildings as well. Full support now with night lighting and ground texturing. High quality vehicles for the airport as well have been included and updated with support for PBR as well. 3D trees, parking lots, new ground markings, revamps of the textures for all 8 runways. They've added in the cargo area that's been added into the north on the northeast ramp. They've redone terminals 1, 2, 3, and 5, including full internal modelling of the interior with a full 3D and 3D people as well. Both north and south towers have been redone. All gates now have starting positions, and there are static aircraft included as well, and making it now fully compatible with World Traffic 3 ready as well. Oh, a lot of features in this. As I said, like, there's a lot's been done for this reboot of this one. Now, if you are a new customer, this is going to be coming in around about $30 for you, available now from the xplane.org store. If you are a pre-existing owner of any of the earlier versions of Chicago O'Hare, this is available to you for a $10 upgrade fee. This is available just for details. Log into your xplane.org account for details on that one and get it available now. Moving out of the X-Plane world, moving into the ESP platform world with the release of... Well, I've got mixed feelings about this. I really kind of do. So the guys over at FS Dream Team have released their GSX Level 2 DLC. So, as I said, as I sort of alluded to, I've got mixed feelings about this. I really do. So first of all, I'm going to start by saying that this is not a reboot of GSX. This is an expansion to GSX. So you still need to have the original GSX in order to be able to use GSX Level 2. Now, what does GSX Level 2 actually give you? So, again, this is where I really struggle with this one. So literally, the main billing of this one is you get animated people, so 3D animated human beings walking on and off of your aircraft. And it will match the load capacity that you've assigned for certain aircraft that support passenger numbers and whatever. So, yeah, okay. Look, okay, if that's what you're after, great, excellent. As I said, it does include, as I said, fully animated passengers, which will either use jetways or staircases, depending on the airport and the aircraft that you've got. They've got multiple 3D models of people, so you're not just watching the same person walk past, which is cool. You do have visible pilots and crew boarding and deplaning the aircraft as well. Random. But anyway, and yeah, that's that. However, there is one significant add-on here, a part of this, which is actually really interesting to me, which is the fact that it is a full SODE replacement of jetways at every airport. So that means even your default airports now, the sort of default sort of random jetway that sort of kind of didn't work, is now replaced by SODE jetways, which is actually kind of really cool. It replaces all the jetways. It does also work with other third-party jetways with animation systems as well. So a lot of different customized airports will come into this. So that part is really, really cool. The other issue, though, that I have is the price tag, and I've got mixed feelings about this price tag because, as I said, this is a piece of DLC. This is not a standalone product. So this one's coming in for around about $30-ish US. The core title is $40 US. So you're literally paying again for this to add in these animated people. So I've got mixed feelings about it, as I said, as you sort of can allude to. Straight up, it's not something I'm going to be getting. But it does appear to be fully supportive of all of the platforms, ESP platforms, including FSX, FSX Steam Edition, and prepared in all its variety of options. However, they do recommend prepared v4 is the one that you use. Couple of other things to note on the release as of this as well. So this is available either through SimMarket or available direct from the FS Dream Team's web store. It is more expensive to buy it through SimMarket by a few dollars. The other thing that's disappointing as well is that if you are a new user wanting to use it, like you haven't used it before and you want to use this one, you want to take advantage of these features, then you do. There's no bundle offer to actually sort of get GSX and GSX Level 2 together. It's simply you have to buy them separately. I was kind of with some things like this come out, I kind of expect to see a bundle offer come out where you can get the core and the DLC together for maybe $5 cheaper or something. And yeah, very disappointed that that's not the case here. So anyway. Otherwise, as I said, if this does interest you and you do want to add animated people to your GSX experience, then go forth and purchase now. As I said, available either direct from FSS Dream Team's web store or available from SimMarket, available now. In other ESP platform release news, the guys over at FSX Scenery have come out with another one of their obscure titles. Now, this is FSX Scenery is sort of an interesting group. They've been around for a little bit. We've featured them here on the NovaWrap many times. The quality of their content is mixed, as always. Usually they come out with the 3D buildings are always good. The layout of airports is great, but the sort of ground poly and the ground photoreal they use is leaves a bit to be desired. But what they are very good at is they are very good at capturing a market of all the places that are a little obscure and a little bit odd and off the beaten path, as it were. And this title is no exception. So this is Mariscal Secure, which is the main and largest international airport in Ecuador, and apparently is also one of the busiest airports in South America. So yeah, this is as I said, FSX Scenery specialize in sort of doing airports that are off the beaten track. So instead of, we've got other developers that will be doing the fourth rendition of Chicago O'Hare or the the third different version of Princess Juliana Airport. FSX Scenery focus on putting out content which is, as I said, off the beaten track. It's stuff that not the big name developers are probably never going to pick up, and yet these airports are just as important for people, particularly for people who may have been there or want to travel there in their virtual world, because they may not be able to get there in real life. So it's kind of interesting. The quality is always better. As FSX Scenery stuff is always, quality is always better than default, but how far much better than default is sort of your mileage may vary. What is interesting though about this one is, and they've done the guys have done this before, is that all the profits from this one are going to a charity. So they are all supporting an animal shelter, Patias, for this one, which is pretty cool to see. Average price of Scenery coming in around about just shy of $20 US, available now from SimMarket. In other ESP platform release news, well, actually, no, we're in Prepared V4 exclusive news, this one. So the guys are at Flight 1 have teamed up with Cool Sky and rebooted their classic of their Ultimate Airliners package. Now, for those who may or may not remember, the Ultimate Airliners package was the DC-9 lineage of aircraft. So it was formed three separate products, which was the DC-9, the Super 80, which was the the McDonnell Douglas version of the MD-80, and then the Super 80 Professional, which was the later version of that one as well, the more detailed one. So these three products actually sort of formed the life cycle of the DC-9 and the MD-80, which still to this day are in operation around the world and still plying the skies. I've flew in a couple of MD-80s fairly recently, actually, and had some wonderful experiences in them. I think American Airlines might have finished phasing out theirs, I think, by now, or damn close to it. The DC-9 is the original sort of all steam gauges twin jet, and with its distinctive T-tail. The Super 80 version was these era around the late 70s, early 80s, when steam gauges was starting to make way for electronic driven gauges and navigation equipment. And then the Super 80 Professional series was the ultimate version of the MD-80, representation of the MD-80, where it actually sort of had the full glass cockpit, as the ones that are soldering on now do tend to have. So the summary of this is that all three do actually have a very advanced system replication of that. All of this has been updated. All the graphics and all the texture mapping and modeling has been updated to take advantage of all the things that come with Prepared V4. You also get a range of highly detailed 2D panels as well for any cockpit builders out there as well. The 3D models have been reworked for both internally and externally to make sure that they are fully detailed, including full simulation of the flying control surfaces. So for those who don't know what flying control surfaces are, they are control surfaces that are not fully actuated, so they won't sort of droop and have full range of movement when there's no airflow going over them. It actually requires airflow to actually get the full deflection on them, which is always kind of cool. It also includes a full a swathe of failures and failure options are available as to be implemented as well as a automatic aircraft configurator that allows for people who may not necessarily want to play 100% by the book and sort of want to skip a couple of checklists. This system will actually enable it to do it for you as well. So yeah, this one's coming in now. For the content is here, it's officially is that you get the 3 distinct versions of the aircraft and all their liveries. You get this included for $55 for a prepared V4 exclusive. Now, one of the cool things I do appreciate this is that if you are a previous owner of any of the modules, you didn't have to own all 3 because previously these are available as 3 separate products. If you previously just owned just one of them for the old FSX version, then you are able to take advantage and upgrade to the full Ultimate Airlines DC-9 Super 80 pack for a upgrade price of $29.95 US, and all details are available on the Flight One's website, available now. Moving on with other aircraft releases. Well, more of a re-release, sort of side release maybe for this one for FSX Steam Edition. So the guys over at Just Flight and Airplane Heaven have re-released their Republic P-47D Thunderbolt a few weeks, about 5-6 weeks ago. They've now re-released it over onto FSX Steam Edition. Now, I'll be straight up say I'm not going to cover it too much because I covered it a few weeks ago when it was originally released. It's looking pretty damn amazing, but I am going to note something here. Now, normally when content is released on Steam Edition, usually the price is a bit cheaper than the one that you can buy through a nominal retailer, and that's usually to reflect the fact that when it's on FSX Steam Edition, it's exclusive. It will only ever work with Steam Edition. It will not work on another platform. You're locked and done to Steam, and the price is usually commensurably sort of cheaper to sort of represent that. Unfortunately, however, that's not the case this time. So this one's been released on Steam for $25 which is the exact same price as is available from the Just Flight website and most other third-party retailers. And the version that you get on other retailers and from Just Flight directly, it allows you to support FSX Steam Edition, and Prepared in all its forms as well. So I'm going to straight up say don't get this unless you are absolutely 100%. You will never ever look at moving to another simulator again, which I think you're possibly never. That's possibly not the right attitude to have. Yeah, you don't want to pick this one up for Steam Edition. As I said, I still use FSX Steam Edition. I still use it. I still enjoy flying in it for certain things. But if you even have a remote inkling that you might at some point in the many years to come in the future be moving away from Steam Edition and moving into any of the other ESP-based platforms, then I would highly recommend that you instead purchase this one direct from Just Flight or from another retailer, because that then gives you the option of actually using the same product in another one of those platforms later on as well without having to rebuy it. So yeah, just a suggestion, just going to leave it there, completely up to you. But if you do guys want to buy it direct from Steam, then it is available, as I said, $25 or pick up for the same price over at the Just Flight website, available now. And moving on to ground level, continuing on with simulation releases, the guys over at OMSI 2 have released a new add-on city this week. They've released the city of Wuppertal, which is in the Rhine region of Germany. And it's known as the Large Green City, and it comes through with a 21 kilometers of bus route for you to be able to use. Now, this is a full representation of all the landmarks and major city elements that are featured on that bus route. Also includes 4 real bus lines across those 21 kilometers to be able to use that. And this has been developed in full consultation and partnership with the city and with the local transportation company WSW as well. You also have included with this one the landmark of Wuppertal, which is a suspension railway, and they've included that for you to be able to use as well. So if you're sick of driving buses, you can drive a suspended rail car instead if you so desire. Now, it also, as I said, includes the latest generation of city buses in both its solo and articulated 6-wheel variant as well. You've got 40 real AI routes are included, along with the 4 bus lines and 1 suspension railway line for you to be able to drive. Fully licensed recordings from WSW as well, and marking colour schemes for the buses, so you actually hear actual announcements as they are used in the WSW buses as well as a full rendition of the city, and with many of the landmarks detailed in here as well. So pretty cool deal for this one. So this one comes in at $25 or your original equivalent, available either direct on Steam or direct from the Aerosoft website, available now. sticking with ground level and on with public transportation. So the guys over at Train Simulator have released a livery pack for the RF-16 for New York Central colors. So the RF-16 is a fairly cool looking train. It really is. And this one, it gives a 2 liveries from the 1950s and 60s for New York Central Railways. Now this is both of their cigar band and their lightning stripe livery of the 50s and 60s included here. So very stylish black liveries for this one. So not only does it include the liveries for the actual the train, it gives you the cab and booster locomotives are included as well. It says it also includes authentic ballband sounds, but I think that's more of the fact that the train includes them already, so not sure if that's just a typo or not. But yeah, if you do want to add these liveries to your train collection, obviously noting that you need to own the RF-16 Sharknose locomotive already, you can pay $5 available now on Steam. And rounding out the simulation release news this week with an interesting title. So this one first came up on my radar about a month ago when it was still in development. And I've been following it ever since, and it's finally been released, and it's been released free, actually. I was expecting it to be sort of $5 or something. I'm finding it fairly cheap, but it's actually been released free, which is very telling with actually its purpose. And I almost sort of wasn't sure if it really falls in the simulation genre or not, because it kind of does and kind of doesn't. So this is I'm actually going to read directly from sort of like the blurb and description of the game here. So this is Progetto Ustica. So this is so in the words directly from the summary. So the Progetto Ustica is a serious game that aims at keeping alive the memory of one of the most tragic events in recent Italian history. It is a short, explanatory experience created for PC Mac and soon supporting Oculus Rift and VR HTC Vive. Progetto Ustica is not intended as a scientifically accurate recreation of facts or as an investigative game that aims at discovering the truth. It is a game from memory. If some details of the scenario are true, others are plausible, and we leave the player the task to further research and not to forget. So basically, this is about in the 1980s. The world is sometimes one of those things where the world has a short memory. It's 1980. So shooting down of airliners is sadly not a new thing. In 1980, Italian DC-9, an Ottavia, which is an Italian airline, a DC-9, was shot down. It disappeared from the sky over the in the Mediterranean, and it's been surrounded by controversy and shrouded in mystery pretty much ever since. It's now been generally accepted, believed that it was shot down. But who shot it down, and the situation and the circumstances of how it was shot down, and why it was a mistaken identity, and a whole heap of other things sort of continue to rage on to this day, sort of hiding in the background. And this, it's a very interesting tale. I knew of the event, and it's as I said, shooting down of airliners is sadly not a new thing. But yeah, it's very interesting, and this sort of looks at it from multiple perspectives and sort of tries to bring together a lot of research, a lot of papers, a lot of research, and a lot of information, and puts it all together. And literally and as it says, it sort of presents it in a format that allows you to remember the event. And it doesn't give you any conclusions or anything like that. It's a very simple title, but very interesting. So yeah, I think this one is worth it, especially because it's free. It might be worth a look, just to have a look. But there you go. So, And on that rather morbid note, we do round out the NovaWrap for this week. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these videos and want to see more. And of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just search NovaWing24. Alright folks, thanks very much for joining me. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.